Well, it was a good idea to be outside this morning. You know, it wasn't too long ago that we thought we would be planting tomato plants in March. Well, here it is. It's turned a little cold on us. I'd like to give you the update. Soil temperature still in the low 40s. So think about that. Planting grass seed, it needs to be in the mid 50s to germinate. So we're not going anywhere right now. Hold off on the crabgrass control, but there are some things you can do. Certainly cutting back rose bushes to about 18 inches. You can get that done. Get a little rose food on them, and you want to fertilize roses once a month through the last feeding would be August, and then you let them go because you don't want to get them all fired up in the fall. These are paniculata hydrangeas, so people are always, you know, when to trim blooming things. Rule of thumb: if it blooms before June the 30th, you prune it after it blooms. If it's after June the 30th, you can prune it in the spring. These paniculatas, the white hydrangeas, you can prune those back right now, but you got to get on it, and they'll be fine. And these have already been pruned because they get way too tall. Trees, you know what's not a bad thing to do is pick up some dormant oil spray. Now, the kicker here is it needs to be above freezing for 24 hours. Dormant oil spray helps, you know, it can smother scale insects. It's just a good practice on trees. So think about that. So just look for dormant oil spray or all-season oil spray, and will help. Azaleas and rhododendrons, which are such a pain, but you know what? I've had this one. We planted this one in the 80s, and see how it's nice, and it has this nice kind of microclimate kind of tucked in there. That's kind of what they need. They also need, you got to acidify the soil. So this is a real good one for, and you can kind of, it's just a granular organic, and give that a little bit of food. Hope for the best with azaleas and rhododendrons. Now the other ones are the blue hydrangeas. And blue hydrangeas is what everyone loves, but it's also, they're not like those white hydrangeas I showed you earlier, because those are almost automatic. The blue ones, they can be a little bit, you know, problematic. So right now you can kind of see they haven't even, well, you're right there, you're starting to see it bud up. And so they are springing there. Thing is, you have to make sure that you don't prune them now, you prune them in August if you want to keep them blue, because no one's ever happy with what they have. So blue hydrangeas in our soil will turn pink. On the East Coast, they're all blue. They're piling lime on them to make them pink. We're piling sulfur on them to keep them blue. Why can't we just be happy with what we have? But it's just not the way it is. So if you're trying to keep them blue, a little bit of sulfur like this, put it on there about once a year, and that'll keep that blue color. But be careful of these. No pruning in the spring. Don't forget the evergreens. It'd be a great time to fertilize those. And maybe, just maybe, by Mother's Day, we'll be planting tomatoes.